Hello, I'm Ben Christensen. I'm the owner of Waterford Wine and Spirits. Over the years, it's been my great pleasure to work with the Milwaukee Public Museum on multitudes of events, and one of my favorite that they have been doing is the great event of tasting wine with food pairings in the museum and walking around and enjoying the sights. Here, what we're going to do today is just take you through some of our favorite wines at the store, and hopefully you can pair them with the food that you can make from those chefs, giving you a little virtual experience of the participation in the Milwaukee Public Museum. One of our favorites, and in particular one of my favorites, is this little interesting guy. Now, I have to tell you, I think it will be an experience for you because this is a wine that lends itself to the savory side of wine, even though it's a white wine. And it's got a real unique name and a very unique story, but I have to tell you, once you're engaged in the bottle, it's one that I entirely love, and I think you will as well. Pavese is the producer, the general region is the Val d'Aosta, and it's called the Blanc de Morgeau. What I was told is as you land in Milan for your international travels, and then you leave Milan and drive on the Autostrada heading up towards Geneva in Switzerland, you get Mont Blanc in the picture. And just before you leave Italy and go through the tunnel and then would exit into Switzerland, you face one last exit, and that is the exit for the Val d'Aosta. From there, you would actually drive through the small village, and then you would end up on a dirt road outside of the village. You would start climbing up the mountain ranges until you reach a national park. At that point, you actually have to get out of your car and hike a little bit, as I was told, past the sheep herd, and then take a ladder up into the Val d'Aosta of Pavese's vineyards. This vast expanse, not vast, but this expanse of valley rising up to be some of the highest vines in the world planted here. Another very special one that we have for you is Hippolyte Reverdy Sancerre. And this is one of those French domains that you kind of read about and maybe get a little mythologized about because of how they operate. The Reverdy family has been present in Sancerre since the 1600s, and they have a continuous generations going producing Sauvignon Blanc in their small little hamlet of Sancerre. The current scion of the family is Michel, and Michel is also sort of contributing to that mythical nature of a French peasant truly working the land. Many of you have probably had Sauvignon Blanc as it's a very common variety, but Sancerre is its birthplace. And on Kimmeridgian soils, the Kimmeridgian soils of Sancerre, in the hands of Michel Hippolyte, you are getting something that is absolutely extraordinary. For one of our red wines, I wanted to show you the husband and wife team of Bilar in Rioja. And it comes in a myriad of styles that make it exciting to explore this one single region for all its history and all its complexity and all of its different flavors. But the husband and wife team of Bilar, I think, are doing a stunning job. Now, he is a Spaniard, she is American. With this bottle of wine, you get a gorgeous, almost cinnamon snap to the nose, along with its brilliant red fruit character. The palate, I would say, is flush and gives you some nice velvety red fruit to it, but also has good tension. If you know Rioja well, it strides the modernist and traditional methods incredibly well, giving you fruit character, but also giving you some savory notes to it. The last time I had this bottle of 2017, I was doing a Rioja tasting. It was our opener, and as our opener, it was kind of, well, this is what Rioja should taste like, and maybe not much more than that. And I'll tell you, it blew the crowd, including me, away with its enormous complexity and how enjoyable it was to drink. It's drinking great now, but there's no rush. I believe that this bottle will go 10 more years in your cellar at least. One of the things that's really unique about Waterford Wine Company is our love of this area of France called Burgundy. So that's one introduction to this wine, René Leclerc's Bourgogne Rouge, although he would like you to know it as Petit Gevrey-Chambertin. René Leclerc is the second in the generation that makes up this winery. The family extends back further, but his dad and his uncle separated. Now, he is entirely based in the village of Gevrey-Chambertin, and that brings us to the value that is this wine. If you know Burgundy's hierarchies at all, Gevrey-Chambertin is usually quite expensive. This is all Gevrey-Chambertin fruit, yet because René has so many scattered parcels, he ends up declassifying some of that fruit and making wine out of it and putting it under this label, Bourgogne. Another wine that I would love to introduce you to and is one of my favorites is Elisabetta Foradori's Tirol de Go. So it's a native red grape of the Alto Adige, and it's one that was going extinct. Elisabetta Foradori set about using biodynamic viticulture to revive the grape and bring it back from distinction. I always find this one extraordinary to drink on its own as a cocktail. It, strangely enough, reminds me of another very fancy wine named La Mission au Brion. But other people I've shared it with prefer it more with food. It has a interesting dynamic to it. The nose smells very fruity, of dark cherries, of black fruits, but then the palate is rather snappy and has good tension to it. So for many, I think this is a dynamic and perfect food pairing wine, and a sparkler for you to start the evening with. This is actually one of our most cherished sparklers, and it's not one of our most expensive either. It is Domaine Montbourgeot, and it's known as a Cremant de Jura. Jura is very significantly back farm country France. To get to the Jura, it's actually easier to land in Geneva, Switzerland, and then climb over the Alps, and then you're in the Jura. The wines to me there are extraordinary, but aren't well known. Comte cheese, one of the other local products, is much more well known. Domaine Montbourgeot has been in one woman's hands for almost 40 years, and she makes all of the wines at the domain. It is called Le Toit, the area, Le Toit stars, because at night, when it's totally dark, and again, you have to imagine this is the French countryside, so no street lights. When it's totally dark, the ground actually sparkles. The topsoil has a mixture of just a bright schist to it. So it's amazing because the stars are up above shining down and quite brightly, and then the soil reflects them with these little schist particles, stars on the ground and above. It's amazing because we usually, like some others that we have in the store, get allocated just a very small amount of this wine, and it gets snapped up by those in the know. This year we ended up with a bit extra and are here to share it with you.